Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to GCPA Live on this Give STL Day 2021. I'm Paul Pagano. I'm the Executive Director and one of the co-founders of GCPA, and we're excited here this afternoon to be talking with some of the cast of our recently streamed production of Urinetown. Before we get started, I want to mention that this is a power hour. You see it scrolling down here at the bottom of the screen. If you donate now during this hour, 6 to 7 p.m. Central, your donation gets multiplied. You can go to www.givestlday.org/GCPASTL in order to make a donation. We are just shy of $5,000 raised so far today. We've got a goal of $10,000, so we're almost at the halfway point, and I know that we're going to make a strong finish here as we get into the evening hours. So before we miss the mark on what this is about, talking about Urinetown, let's go ahead and bring everybody out here and let's see who we're going to be talking with. So first up, we've got a pair of siblings, Annalise and Ian. How you doing tonight?
Good.
What roles did you play in Urinetown?
I'm Annalise, and I played Bobby Strong.
I'm Ian, and I played Officer Lockstock.
All right. We're looking forward to hearing some of your stories from the production, both last year and this year. Thanks for coming out and being with us here tonight. Next up, we've got Alex.
Hello.
Alex, what role is it that you played in Urinetown?
I played Caldwell B. Cladwell.
All right.
Big bad guy.
That's right. The big bad villain of the story. And this was your first production with us too, which was exciting to get to work with you. Cool. We look forward to hearing your stories here tonight as well. Thanks for joining us, Alex. And last, we have Paul. Paul, how you doing tonight?
Good. What about you?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for asking. Paul, what role did you play in Urinetown?
I played Hot Blades Harry, and that was really fun.
Yeah, he's a little bit of a character.
A little bit, definitely out of my comfort zone, but it was fun.
and it was fun watching you play him too. So thanks so much for being here. Let's bring your co-stars in and let's start talking about the show. So first off, let's talk about the fact that we put the show on ice a year ago. We were 2 weeks from tech when the pandemic hit and the shutdown happened. So what was it like getting back into rehearsal a year later to finally put the show up?
Really, really good.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. For a lot of us, that was the first time, or if you're an Angry Gamer, time performing live in a theater in over a year. So it was really, really nice to get back to rehearsal and just get to see everybody that you love to work with and love to be around again after a really, really long time. It was really nice.
Yeah,
I think it was definitely really exciting, but I think part of me was a little bit scared too, almost, because it was such a new thing, and I didn't I had ideas of how it would work, but again, with everything changing rapidly, I was never sure. But I think the scariness kind of made it more exciting.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say after a few rehearsals, it almost felt like we'd never left. We really got back into it well, and it was a great experience. Especially the in-person rehearsals. I know we had to do some on Zoom, which was, it worked. But once we got to get more into those in-person ones, it really came together well.
Yeah, and you're all talking about being able to get back in, and it had been a year. Paul, you mentioned that things were a little bit different. You were kind of a little scared about what's this going to be like, because in 2020 it was going to be a live audience. But 2021, it was going to be a streamed performance. So what were some of the differences that we had to accommodate in the storytelling of Urinetown to adjust to that new medium?
Well, I think one of the things that I think was definitely different, but also worked really well, was in Follow Your Heart, during the kiss between Bobby and Hope there, with the little 6 feet apart bit with little Sally. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, there it is. With the toss and the catch, man, that was.
Yeah. And even though we had to change, like obviously I was not going to kiss Ava for COVID reasons, obviously. We still had like I feel like even with that, and we adapted with this a stethoscope and just the energy we were still able to create. It still felt like we were definitely in love and we're really connected. And so it was nice to still be able to feel that. And Ian as Lockstock, we added so many like to the camera moments. I think all of us here, we each had a couple, but Ian was like really working the camera. That was different, but really it worked really, really well.
Yeah, I actually thought it was really, I thought it was a really interesting little level of comedy added in there with all the narration lights before were just out to the audience, but directly to the camera. I think it adds a whole new aspect of comedy there.
Yeah,
and especially
go ahead,
comedy with the mask on. I mean, it's a whole nother beast having to do the entire show with the mask on. It's hard to, I mean, you don't have as much freedom with the facial expressions and conveying all that. So really the physicality had to be upped and the timing of it all. And the mask was a whole nother beast to take on. But I think we did a good job of it, especially with this show. It worked pretty well.
Yeah. And, you know, you mentioned, you know, the physicality of it, not being able to use your facial expression, the fact that the show was written with specific ideas of breaking the fourth wall and talking directly to the audience, and how that looks so much different when it's a stream production. You had to find the camera in a dark house. You had to find where the camera was in order to talk to your audience on the other side.
Tiny red light you had to find.
Yeah, or the little piece of glow tape above it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there were so many moments that when we were able to figure out what that looked like, it created that comedy like you were talking about, like this one right here, and the exaggerated physicality. Ian, you want to talk about what that moment was? Do you remember what that moment is?
Yes. So that one, I believe the line was, oh gosh, it was, I can't just blurt it out like, there is no Urinetown. We just kill people. And yeah, so it's a little bit of foreshadowing there.
Well, very heavy foreshadowing. Or a spoiler.
Yeah.
Written in the show. So.
Yeah, I mean, Urinetown's 20 years old. I think we can have a few spoilers.
Yeah, I think it's okay. They say it like in the beginning of the first act, so you're not missing anything.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So one of the things that is unique about all of you that are here for this conversation was that, you know, in 2020 we had our cast, and there were a lot of seniors last year who now are freshmen in college, and understandably they weren't able to come back in order to do the show here in 2021. So Paul, Alex, Ian, you all stepped into the roles that you had been understudying last year. Talk about what that transition was like, because you had a role that you knew that you were ready for in the fall. You were understudying, but now when we come back and bring it off ice and get it going, I'm stepping in. It's a completely new role for me. Talk about that experience.
I think, in all honesty, I was like really scared about it because last year, like, my character was this like really angry, really like loud, big character, and last year that really, really scared me because I am a pretty shy person, and I think that role definitely helped that, and I was able to come out of my shell. But at the beginning of it, I was like genuinely terrified, and I was like, oh, no, how am I going to do this? But it ended up being a really good experience.
Yeah, I'd say for me, I was lucky that I did do my work for my understudy the year before when we were gonna put it on, and so when I came back to it, I had already kind of dipped my toes into the character a little, and I was able to get back into him. It wasn't completely new. Having done it last year a couple times, I was lucky to be able to kind of ease myself into it that way. But it was, I mean, a whole nother beast to take on compared to my character from last year. So it was a challenge.
Yeah. So but Ian, before I jump over to you here, I do want to ask Alex, So this moment here, what was the precursor to this moment was you getting the bunny.
Yeah.
And the way that we ultimately got you the bunny was actually an accident that happened in rehearsal. Talk about how that ended up coming to fruition.
It was. So we were having, I think it was a full run through one day, and we'd gotten this bunny prop finally that we hadn't had before. And I had our stage manager had it. But when I go on for this act, I realized that we had never discussed how the bunny was going to end up in my hands for this moment. So as I'm singing the song and we're getting in the dialogue, it's right before the part where I need it. I was like, oh, I need the bunny. What? Camila has it. Camila's our stage manager. So as I'm about to do the part with the bunny, I just look towards her and I kind of gesture a little. And so she tosses the bunny to me and I catch it. And obviously I'm in the song at this point, but Paul just, I mean, you erupted out laughing. You thought it was the funniest thing. And I just keep going and then I tear the head off or whatever. And afterwards you were like, oh, that's amazing. We're going to keep that. And so we ended up doing it every night in the show. We had to practice tossing it from out in the seats all the way onto the stage, but it worked out and it was hilarious.
Yeah, it's those impromptu moments that sometimes create better comedy than we can even plan. And that was an exciting moment to be able to keep in there.
A very fun one too. Yeah.
So Ian, you played Lockstock, and that was your understudy that you stepped in for. To talk about what it was like for you stepping into that role.
Yeah, well, kind of like Alex said, I'm glad I went to my understudy last year, and especially with the choreography stuff in Cop Song, there's a lot of choreography there that I'm glad I got a little bit of last year before just jumping right into it. And another thing with it is that last year I was in the Poor, and Lockstock is in the UGC, so it's basically all new parts in the group numbers with new harmonies, new words and stuff. And so, yeah, it was definitely a lot of work, but I really liked it, and I basically know like half the show now. So,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, you definitely know half of the show. And here's a little bit of that choreography during the Cop Song that you and Sammy and the rest of the ensemble got to perform there. So, Annalise, you didn't step into an understudy track. You stepped into a role that you auditioned for. Because we re-auditioned for Bobby. So talk to us about the audition, playing the role. What was that like to step into shoes that you didn't anticipate stepping into when we got back into the rehearsal process?
It was very exciting, and I just kind of auditioned as like, oh, this could be prepping myself for this audition could be a way to push myself as an actor. Because Bobby is the male part. He's like the romantic lead of the show. And I am not a male romantically. I actually normally sing soprano 1, but I had to work a lot on my lower range, like I guess alto and now tenor range for the audition, and worked a lot on like mannerisms and a lot of just like character work. And how I think my version of Bobby would act before the audition, and it was a really fun audition, and I just felt really good about it. And yeah, when I ended up getting the call, I was just beyond thrilled. It was really amazing, and the rehearsals were so amazing. And at the very beginning, it was a little hard because I was one of the only people who had a completely different track. It was fun though. It was a little bit of catching up and a lot of extra work for me to be stepping into all like those lines and just kind of like taking on the part of Bobby, which is it was a lot. But I loved it. He's such like an amazing character, and I think I saw a lot of myself in that character too, with him being so like such a leader for people who he can help their lives and make them better. It's very sweet. I'm just so grateful to get that opportunity to play this amazing character like Bobby in a show like that I love so much, and I think it's so important, like Urinetown, right before I graduate too. So I'm it was just amazing, and I'm sad it's over, and I'm just like I miss that show a lot, but I'm just more glad that it happened. So
Yeah. And and when you step into a role that's a remount, most of the cast has at the very least at least walked the track or has been working on the track. That can be a daunting challenge. But you not only did you step in and really embrace that challenge, but you had actors around you that really helped you along. The other three that we're talking to right now, Ava stepping in and really being a fantastic scene partner in order to help you in your acceleration towards understanding the track.
It's just one of like the best parts of doing the show was getting to work with like the community we created was just amazing. And like all the energy we had in rehearsal, we were able to build so much off each other and build bits off each other. And just had a really great energy performing, and it was just amazing. And Abby helped me a lot too. Abby played Old Ma Strong, and so she knew a lot of like these very like little choreography first. I was like, I don't know what Molly's doing here. And she was a huge help. Just everyone was so supportive, and I think we can all like talk about that. Just everybody who had stayed in the tracks was really able to help.
We've got a nice little reminder that we've got a QR code in the top right corner here of your screen. Go ahead and scan that, and you can make a donation to GCPA right now while we're talking about our production. And speaking of technology, clearly we went with a stream performance because that's what we were able to do in March, and we wanted everybody to still be able to be a part of it that was a part of it last year, should they be able to. And there was one actor who was not able to come in face to face in order to do the show in person, but was available to still participate via Zoom. And so Holly was someone who we zoomed into rehearsals, zoomed into the performance, and we actually had a television on set that we allowed the ability and figured out how we could still have her a part of this. Alex, you had a lot of interaction with Holly's character during the show. So talk to us about what were some of the nuances of working in person with an actor that was on Zoom for a show that's being live streamed?
So I was lucky to work with Holly actually a lot during the last rehearsal process before the show got postponed. So I was excited that she was back, even though it was on Zoom, because it worked out. And I'd say with something like that, where she was on Zoom, it really worked because everyone committed to it. When we had those moments where she had lines, everyone would turn and look at her, or we would give her the attention and bring her into the scene in that way. And that way it made it work. And when I had lines that were directed at her, I would turn to her, and buying into that kind of, I mean, the suspension of disbelief, right, is huge in theater. So when everyone commits to that, and it makes it even funnier, I had a scene where I tell her to come with me. Well, she's on a television. How is she going to come with me? I mean, just those little bits like that and getting her to still come and be a part of it is amazing.
Yeah, and you, Alex, you mentioned, some of those bits that we're able to create. Annalise, you mentioned that before as well. The style of the show in and of itself allows for that. It's very vaudevillian in the way that it's been written, and we were able to create a lot throughout the show. So what were some of your favorite bits that you either got to be a part of or got to watch night in and night out? And I'd really like to hear from everybody and what your favorite bits are.
I'd say one of my favorites is, obviously Ava isn't here to talk about this one, but when she dropped the stack of papers, and there was one night where that one was, well, it got a little heightened, a little more than it had been the other nights. But that one was a lot of fun because there's this whole moment going on, and then Ava drops the papers, and I am all mad at her, and then she like goes down to pick them up and comes back up. And one night she had dropped one all the way down the front of the stairs. And so she almost launched herself down the stairs to grab it, like on her stomach, laying down. And I was just standing there trying to keep a straight face as she was doing this. And she got it and came back up. But that was just one of my favorite bits. It was hilarious.
I'm pretty sure that the people at home on the feed could hear me laughing. And I was up running one of the spots during that moment. I remember talking to Ava after that moment, after the show, and she said, I didn't have an exit plan. She said, when I got to the bottom of the stairs, if I couldn't get back up, I had no idea how I was going to get back up because I did not have an exit plan. Yeah. Which, of course, knowing behind, of course, she got up. She, everything was safe. She was fine. But she did get up, and it made, and that's, Alex, I'm glad that you bring that up because that's a moment that the story itself allows for. It allows for the creation of a comedic bit in that instant that not a lot of other shows allow for, and you all embrace that. While the next person's talking, I'm going to step up so that I can pull the curtain here as the sun's starting to move on me. So go ahead and share another story.
Well, I think that my favorite got to be that one too. It's just specifically that night where the paper fell all the way down the stairs. And I remember standing there and I hear someone in the audience go, "Oh, this is going to be good." And I just wanted to burst out laughing on stage.
It was probably
really
Paul.
It might have been, yeah.
It might have been me.
Yeah. And I really had to hold in the laughter there. It was it was really funny.
Definitely a moment where the mask came in handy.
Yeah, I will never ever forget that. It was hilarious. A different book that I liked was in Follow Your Heart. And so we talked about the stethoscope before, and we put a picture up earlier too. And so Ava had to throw that stethoscope to me, and she'd be like, "Here, listen," and then throw it. And in rehearsal, I didn't always catch it. I do theater, not sports. So, I shouldn't be expected to be able to catch things. But whenever, I think it was opening night, I caught it, and she was like, "Yes!" And then night 2, didn't catch it. And she was like, "Oh, it's okay, you tried." And then the last night, we ended up catching it, and we both said, yes. And it was just like, that moment was just really funny, and we love that song to contain so much. But the response, like the throwing up, whether or not the stethoscope, was just really funny to me. And then Alex, who played Little Sally, I'm not sure if they meant to, but kind of mimicked that same bit when Ian would flip a penny to them before the little story. And I just thought that was and a good example of how flexible the show is within reason because of the comedy style.
Yeah, and I remember that coin flick moment. Afterwards, I was talking with Alex about it, and I told him, I said, who's the person that had you do that in a dimly lit space, and you had to catch a penny?
It was dark on the stage.
And of course that person was me. But when they did catch it, they did catch it on closing night, and that was a very cool moment. And yeah, they were able to mimic that moment that Ava and you had been able to create in nights before. Paul, how about you? What's one of your favorite bits?
Another Ava bit, but I remember in Don't Be the Bunny, there was like one part, and all of like the UGC, they were doing like a bunch of jazz squares, just like repeated jazz squares, and Ava every night would like go in between them, and she was acting almost like it was a jail, and she would just like squat down, like cover her head, And it was just the funniest thing ever. Like she'd be like shrieking in there. And I remember whenever I'd be like sitting in the audience, like everyone there would just be laughing, and we didn't care if anyone heard us. It was just awesome. It was hilarious.
Yep, that was another moment. We're catching a theme here that Ava really leaned into the vaudevillian style that this show is written in, and created just some really great moments. And speaking of great moments, here at GCPA, you all know we joke about it that we like to put little touches and homages to different shows in our productions. And sometimes they're sly and they're small, sometimes they're big and overt. And the fact that this show we took a recycling theme with, because of course, for those of you unfamiliar with the Urinetown story, it's a dystopian future where climate change has had a significant impact, and there's this tremendous water shortage. And so we recycled the sets, we recycled the costumes, we recycled many props, we recycled moments from other musicals. So I'm going to show you a few pictures. Talk to us about what this moment was and what everybody was thinking when these moments were created.
I guess I'll take this one. That's me right there. Well, look at this guy. And as you can tell from the flag waving in the background, it's limited. And the special thing is like the little march in the car. And GCPA has put a lot of this moment, like a lot of there's a lot of feedback.
There is a lot of feedback. I'm not sure why, because when Ian talks, we don't get as much.
No. Well, sorry.
I'm just saying. Nothing personal.
I'm kidding. But that works out really well there because look at this guy when Bobby's like getting everybody to like get this revolution. And one day more is of course when in Les Mis they're like building the barricade and getting ready for what's next to come for their student revolution. So that might be my favorite reference to a musical that it's not a DC show in the show. I really love it. Yeah.
Yeah, here's another reference to another show that GCPA hasn't done, but will do one day in the future.
Yeah, this was an Assassins reference, and I remember, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And that was at the end of the Act 1 finale, and I think last year we were all supposed to have like water guns and like we were supposed to like shoot pee at everyone, but
It's gonna be really
yeah,
it was really going to be water, everybody. It's okay.
yeah, but I remember that one was really funny, and even though we weren't able to incorporate that effect this year, it was just like that was, and especially because we were all lined up together, that was just like I think a really fun way to close the act.
Yeah, that's a show that many have been asking us to do. We will do it one day. Here's what's that?
Make it an alumni show.
Make it an alumni show. Here's a show we did do.
Ian?
Yes, I'll take this one. So this one, I believe, is from Carrie, correct? Yeah.
It is, yeah.
And it's from the part near the end, and all the people in the back there, the dead people, they go, and everyone on the floor just sits up and goes, "You're in town." And yeah, I never got to see it though because I was standing right there, but I'm sure it was hilarious.
Say what happens in Carrie.
Oh, right. And Carrie, I've never actually seen Carrie, but I think she kills everyone or something like that.
She controls everybody, and she's like,
that's right. Yeah.
And like making them go up and down.
Yeah, that was definitely a lot of fun standing up there. And
yeah, it was cool because like for a second I got to act really evil, and the whole show I'm like not evil. I was like, got to do some fun like scary eyes at the end. Alex is evil the whole show, so it wasn't really anything new for his character.
A continuation for me.
I think it was even more fun because I was on the ground and I had to like lift myself up every single time, and like and all the lights would be flashing, and it was just like it was hilarious, but it was also like cool at the same time.
Sad because everyone's dead.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Here's another show that that the rights aren't even out for yet, but we would love to get the rights for this one.
Oh, yeah. That's from Alice by Heart. I don't know if Alex knows what this is. He's the last one that has talked about this, but
I do not.
okay. Well, I'll talk about it because I like Alice by Heart. Alice by Heart is a very cool and very new musical that's it's based off the story of Alice in Wonderland. And Alice has a love interest, and there's this really famous picture from like their promos where they're doing this lift where the entire ensemble is lifting up Alice and the boy's name who is blinking out of it's blinking right now, I can't remember. And this lift was really hard to do. It took a lot of work to get it to happen. But it was very fun, and I think we all liked this like homage a lot, except for maybe the people had to lift me and Ava. But yeah,
Yeah.
it looked beautiful. It was really fun, and I liked being lifted a lot.
One of the
I'm very
advantages of
tall.
playing Cladwell is I didn't have to do that lift anymore. So
Yeah, because you were on Thomas last year. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, Cladwell has minions to do his bidding, and
Yeah.
so
exactly.
go lift Bobby, but then put him down and let him run away.
Xavier loved that lift a lot. I know that.
Oh, he hated it. He said I left like bruises on his shoulders.
Oh, he exaggerates.
Oh, him for real.
I can say that. Xavier's my son.
I think the coolest thing about all these references, though, is that we weren't just throwing them in to like throw in a reference, but they all made sense to where like what was happening on with the show. I think it's really important because you could very easily be like, let's see how many musicals we can put in this, and just kind of throw them in willy-nilly. And although we did definitely try to get as many as we could, there was definitely like a lot of thought that went into like where they're going to be and if it really made sense and was doable, which I definitely thought was really important because it definitely still had a lot of meaning and it just made it extra special to have all those moments in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say a lot of them fit perfectly naturally into the show, especially like that Alice by Heart one. I mean, I would have thought that was choreographed into the show, but it fits that well.
Show, but
well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's and that's that's one of the things that that not everybody thinks about when you've got a show like Urinetown where you've got the ability to throw in a whole bunch of references, that just throwing in references to throw in references, it doesn't necessarily advance the storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to make sure that the references that we did put in there fit in, like you mentioned, with the storytelling, and that it's just a fun little pop-up that you get in order to enhance your experience. So Annalise and Alex, you both are seniors. So you're heading off to college. Where are you both going, and what are you going to be studying?
Annalise, where are you going?
Oh, you can go first, Alex.
I'm going to Loyola Chicago. And when I had applied initially in the fall, I still don't really know what I want to do. But I think I've begun to think that maybe I want to do a double major in theater. So that's exciting for me, especially because a lot of the places that I applied to, I mean, I'm not someone who's done theater for a long time, but a lot of the places that I applied to had that opportunity for me to be able to do that if I wanted to. So that's exciting for me. So I'm going to Loyola Chicago, and they've got a good theater department there, and something I'll be able to participate in. And then I'll do another major, and who knows what else. So I'm excited, especially Chicago. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah, it's going to be a great city for you to be in, and and it very vibrant theater city. And continuing to grow in their film work as well. So there's lots of opportunities up in Chicago right now. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Annalise, where is it that you're going?
Let me just explain this bit for those watching at home. I'm going to my dream school, New York University, Tisch School of the Arts for a BFA in drama. And I kind of talk about it a lot because I am very excited and it's my dream school and I think I have a right to talk about it. But now it's a bit with literally everybody at GCPA, my ballet classes, here, rehearsal, viewpoints. Like once every class would be like, so like, where are you going next year? Could you just like give a reminder? It's funny because I know they all love me, so it's fine.
It is because we love you, and you absolutely should be proud of that. And the fact that you get to go to your dream school, I remember you talking about that years ago.
Yeah.
And and what you wanted, and for both Annalise, Alex, like the work that you've done, the work that you've put in order to better yourselves as artists, to better yourselves as human beings, it's put you in a position to do what you want to do in the next step of your journey, and we're excited that we've been able to be a small part of that.
Although it is sad to have to leave GCPA.
Yeah, me too. I'm not thinking about it. I'm not thinking about that until after Amelie. So a little bit of smile.
And it's not a leaving. You'll always be a part of the family, and it's not like you're never going to come back to St. Louis. You'll come back to visit, and we'll see you.
Yeah,
we'll see you, and and we'll bring you back for fundraisers like this, and you can talk about what you're doing at Loyola Chicago and NYU, and encourage the next generation of young artists that are coming up. So gang, this is of course a day where we're raising funds, and a lot of people who watch these who are trying to make a decision on who do I give money to on Give STL Day. They're looking for places that are making a difference, and I'd like to ask each of you, when you think about your work here at GCPA, what are some of your favorite elements of the work, and why should people make a donation here today to enhance our technology?
Well, I think one thing, I've just had such a great experience with GCPA, and I think one of the things that sets it apart so much is how, even though we're young actors, we're treated like professionals and treated as peers and not like talked down on, like condescended at all. Like we totally feel like on an equal level and just treated so professionally, and I think that's a really great experience.
I can definitely second that. As someone who, obviously, Urinetown was my first show, my first time working with GCPA. It was a very encouraging experience, I would say, to come into this new setting, but to be treated, like Ian said, like an adult with respect. It's a mature setting. The rehearsals are very professional, I would say, even though I don't have any professional experience, but it's really somewhere where everyone is treated with respect, treat others, each other, the directors, the actors, everyone, and it's a great place.
Yeah, and I think like even outside of like how professional it is, I think it's been a place where I've met a lot of the people who I consider to be like hopefully friends for life, but also I think I came 2 years ago to GCPA and I was a very shy, very like closed off person, and I think through like the maturity and like the respect that I have been like that I've seen and then been treated with, I think it's helped me be expressive and open up a lot more.
I think to build on that, I think we definitely are treated like professionals and like taken very seriously, but we're still all growing and we're still all kids, and that is never like taken off the table. And we're always in a very supportive environment. And I mean, GCPA honestly has like changed my life. Same with Paul. I was a very anxious kid before I came to GCPA. And just like the safety and community that I was able to be a part of at GCPA just made me so much more comfortable in myself and so much more confident in my acting, singing, and dancing abilities. And honestly, I don't know if I would be at the same point of going to a school like NYU if I hadn't have had all the support and all the wonderful, like really top-notch teaching that I got at GCPA. It's really like I could not recommend it more. I could not like you should donate. I don't like it's just there's really no place like it.
Yeah, I can second that. Obviously, I haven't
Really.
done as much work with them as you have, Annalise, but it's definitely somewhere where we're supported and encouraged, and we have the proper guidance to really do our best work and put on amazing shows like these.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great.
And GCPA is always working to be like as accessible and as diverse as possible, which I think is really, really important. I think we're going to see that happening. We see that happening right now in theater, with people being advocates for each other and people trying to make the industry a more inclusive place for everyone. And GCPA is definitely working to do that. Haha. It's definitely working to do that within our community and within GCPA itself, which is very, very important and so refreshing and amazing to see at a youth level too.
Yeah, thanks everybody. So we are coming up on the last 20 minutes of this power hour, and right now it looks like we are at $4,900 raised for our $10,000 goal. So for those of you who have donated so far this hour, thank you so much. Encourage you to continue to share the message with everyone in St. Louis. We've got another power hour during 9 p.m. tonight. And there's what we're looking for is 100 people to donate $10, or even 10 people who will donate $100 during that hour here during that 9 o'clock hour tonight. Help us get to our goal, $10,000 for our fundraising here today. Alex, Annalise, Ian, Paul, thank you so much for spending some time today to talk about your experiences here at GCPA. And we're so excited that you're a part of the family, and it's been fun to watch you grow. And Alex and Annalise, it's going to be fun to see what the next chapter looks like for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So everybody, you've got that QR scanner in the top right corner there, or you can go to www.givestlday.org/GCPASTL and make a donation. Everybody, thanks so much. We'll see you again at about 8:45, 8:50 tonight, where we're talking with some of the 42nd Street cast. Bye for now, everybody.